So first, visualize it, imagine it, then we put some numbers to it. Are you stuck at a current stage of growth and not sure how to get to that next level? I want to talk you through how I like to approach this. Let's dive in. No matter where you're at on the business growth curve, there's always that next step ahead. And first you need to imagine what life looks like at that next revenue level for us to then reverse engineer what the business needs to do to get there. So say if you're in a 500K a year business and you want to be $1 million business, you need to break down where you're at, where your cash is going currently, what your team is at the moment, and then you can map ahead, say for this $500,000 business, what your team looks like at that next stage of growth. And that's mapping together who the team is, what you're paying them, what it looks like, how it functions, how you're delivering for your clients. So first, visualize it, imagine it, then we put some numbers to it. Then we just reverse engineer actually getting there. And to do that, we have a hiring plan. So we have our existing team right now, and then we have who our future hires will be, and we space them out as we go, right? We hire them depending on the revenue levels, depending on profitability levels. We can then stair-step our approach and to build out that org chart from $500,000 to $1 million as we go. That all relies on having a decent idea of what our future revenue looks like. Notoriously hard to do perfectly, but you should at least be trying to estimate it for the next couple of months ahead at least. Then you've got an idea of what currently is guaranteed contracted revenue, and then if there are any contracts finishing, we need to take that into account. Then you can have a look at what your pipeline might be, or just your sales goals to land a new client each month. Usually basis on historical data, on your historical conversions to make sure that this is somewhat accurate. From there, you build out a future P&L basically. You've got your revenue, which we just looked at. You've got your team and the team that you want into the future. And we can space out when we hire those people and what month, depending on the revenue levels that we're hitting. So we've kind of got a future picture of that org chart and we're trying to connect the two. Then our operating expenses, you can forecast out a bunch of different ways. I use common sizing in this example, which basically just takes a historical number of, our overhead as a percentage of revenue, and then applies that into the future. So using something called common sizing, which I've spoke about on previous videos. But don't get too hung up on it. Keep it simple for this. The main thing I want you to think about is what's our revenue level and what does our team look like at that revenue level, and plan that org chart ahead of time. Then, to make it super simple, you need to look at it in a visual form. This is where we actually look at your P&L into the future and have a look at what the profitability dips might be as we make these extra hires, as the team costs go up. We have a look at what our cash balance might look like into the future, depending on, if we're spending too much in overhead or we hire too many people in the team, that might start to go down. And that obviously is a huge warning sign. So we need to be keeping on top of that. We can also set goals and hold ourselves accountable to revenue and new pipeline targets. And we can have a look at that into the future as well to help us plan and kind of shoot for the future. And finally, we need to know if we're on or off track. This is where benchmarks like revenue per full-time employee come into it, and having a goal headcount versus actual, depending on what our charge out rate and our utilization is. But all of these designed to just try and help us visualize what the future looks like, make sure we're on the path, and then help us space out the big decisions to make sure we can actually afford it. And that way we can navigate that growth curve without running out of cash and hopefully hitting that next stage of growth. That's how I like to think about navigating the growth curve and building a business up to 5 million and beyond. I hope you got some value. See you on the next one.